Welcome back to Talking Dragon Age, the show where I talk about Dragon Age. Today we're going over some unanswered questions I have about relatively basic things in Dragon Age lore. If any of you have answers for these questions and can provide a source for the information, please send it my way. Also, if you have any unanswered questions of your own, be sure to let me know in the comments. So let's start out with some questions I have about blood magic. Apparently, blood magic makes it harder to connect to the Fade. However, ancient Tevinter was using it for exactly that reason. If blood magic makes it harder to connect to the Fade, why would they use that as their primary power source for connecting to the Fade, instead of just Lyrium? You could argue that blood is more plentiful than Lyrium, but because it makes it harder to connect, you must need to use more of it. Thus, the pros and cons cancel themselves out. Unless, because blood magic makes it harder, does that mean you need more blood to do it? Or does it mean that the more you use, the harder it gets? But surely if it makes it harder to connect, just a little bit wouldn't cut it, right? I'm confused. Another question, could you use animal blood? What makes the blood of sapient beings like humans and elves so special? Why can't you use the blood of, say, cows? Or hell, rats? Or rabbits? I could see Tevinter having dedicated programs to breed rabbits to supply their blood for magic. Obviously that's horrible, but would that work? Also, can you store the blood for later? Like, can you keep vials of blood around for a while before using them? Does it lose its effectiveness over time? And why does the blood need to be exposed in order to use it? Why can't you draw power from the blood in your veins, or somebody else's? Why does it need to be exposed in order to use it? If you had internal bleeding, would that blood work? Also, can blood mages use Valisline? It is blood. I don't know if it's unusable because it's mixed with ink or because it's in the skin, but it is blood that is exposed. If a blood mage did use it, would the Valisline disappear? Or would it fade away slightly? And another thing. If demons can teach blood magic by kind of implanting memories in people, as detailed in Last Flight, couldn't non-mages learn that way as well? Not that demons commonly have reason to, but is it theoretically possible? While non-mages don't have a conscious connection to the Fade, blood magic apparently doesn't touch the Fade. So what's the deal? Could even dwarves learn it that way? Now, Darkspawn. Why do only sapient species get broodmothers? Why can't the Darkspawn make broodmothers from animals? Do they specifically need souls? Is that the stipulation? I'd argue dogs have souls, at least Mabari. If that's not it, why aren't there animal broodmothers? I mean, dogs can even undertake the joining, so... Speaking of Darkspawn and the Taint, how does land recover from blights? In the 4th Blight, for example, Antiva and a ton of the Free Marches were covered in Darkspawn. Animals from all over those regions would have been driven away, not to mention Darkspawn blood and stuff seeping into the ground, which surely destroys crops, or even entire forests, given how potent the taint is. The air should definitely be polluted. And that's just the 4th Blight, not even mentioning the 1st, which covered nearly all of Thedas. How does the environment recover from that? I wouldn't think it's possible. What would happen if a Darkspawn, alive or dead, fell into water, like a pond or a small lake, and then someone drank the water without knowing it was in there? Or what about fish in the water? Would the taint infect them just by proximity? Would they eat the Darkspawn, or would instinct keep them away? Even if it didn't infect them directly, what would happen if a person ate the fish that was in the water? Would trace amounts infect the person? Or would it be so diluted that their bodies could fight it off? If so, would they develop any resistance to it? What about cities? Antiva City, for example, was completely overrun by Darkspawn for years. We see a tiny bit of recovery in Last Flight, but I'm just curious to see how much of the city was actually destroyed, and how people drive out the taint. Also, it's said that it's unlikely for a Grey Warden to conceive a child, and that for 2 Grey Wardens it's nearly impossible. But let's say it did happen. Does that child bear the taint? Are they resistant to it just like their parents? If so, what's their life expectancy? Or do they not bear the taint? Maybe stem cells or something prevent it from taking hold? If demons and spirits can possess the tainted bodies of Grey Wardens and even ghouls, can they possess regular Darkspawn? If so, why don't they do it more often? Demonic curses. The only one I can think of offhand is lycanthropy. We know there are other strains of it, but are there any that involve shapeshifting back and forth? For me, it kind of takes away the fun of werewolves if they're just always wolves. So, are there different versions of lycanthropy? And what other kind of demonic curses are out there? Lastly, you know how the Circle provides enchanting services? Why do armies not have enchanted weapons and armor standard for their troops? I can understand city guards not having them, that would be pretty expensive. But surely armies would at least have whole divisions utilizing arms enchanted by the Circle, right? Well, that's all I can think of for now. Again, if you guys have any questions of your own about this kind of thing, be sure to let me know in the comments section. So that's it for now, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to comment and like, and remember, Tala na das.